In this video from Imagine Landscapes, we're going to be making a beard. Now in this beard, I've already attached the nose, so it looks a lot more like an octopus than a beard at the moment, which is kind of hilarious. But this is the beard we're going to be ending up with. And what we're going to be doing is using a cable cast on method and then binding off. It's going to curlicue. My testers and I had different amounts of curlicue depending on the person. And so hopefully today we'll get you ending up with a fairly curly beard and understanding how the cable cast on works. Really the difference in gauge between the cast on and bind off is what produces the curl. So hopefully by keeping things snug enough, you'll have kind of a tighter edge and then a larger edge, and that'll create that. So how do we do the cable cast on? Take the two ends of yarn, flip them so you have a loop, reach through that loop and tighten. Then you can tighten further once it's on your needle. You want the working yarn coming off the back. Take it to the end, and for the first thing you're going to do is just like a knitted cast on, you're just going to knit. So knit the first stitch and then put it on. As soon as you have 2 stitches on the needle for cable cast on, you do it the same way for the rest of the time. You go through the 2 stitches. You're not going through 1 stitch and going through that loop. You're actually going between these 2 stitches like this. So then you grab your yarn like you would for any normal cast on or any normal knit stitch, I should say, and just bring it up and put it on. We're going to do this over and over. We're going to go between the first 2 stitches on the needle, whether you do continental or European, no, that is the continental or English. You may notice that I am tightening the stitch as I place it. That is part of the trick with this method. It says to cast on 18. So that's what we're going to do. I won't make you watch every single one of those stitches to get to the next bit of the beard, but this is how we're going to do the cable cast on. Between the stitches, grab the yarn, come through. Oh, I split the yarn there. Come through, put it on, and tighten it, however you need to tighten it. All right, so I'll see you in a few minutes once I've cast on. Well, a few minutes I say, it's not going to take me that long, but you still don't need to sit through it the whole time. 18 stitches on the needle. What do we need to do? We need to bind off. So the pattern says bind off 16 stitches. So that will be just like a regular bind off. Knit 2, hop 1 over, knit the next one, hop it over. All right, so last one to bind off, what you will be left with is 1 stitch on this needle and 1 on this needle. So we'll knit that 1. And then the pattern tells us to work on the second row. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to purl 2. Now the pattern tells you to turn the work in the middle of this row. So it doesn't tell you to turn the work after row 1 because it's sort of assumed that between rows you're going to do it, but to finish this row with the cable cast on, we literally have to turn it right now so that we can be working, so we can be working forward off this row. So we're going to put our needle between and we're going to cable cast on for this second gnome tendril. We're going to cast on 16 stitches. And then we're going to cast off 16 stitches. And so the main thing I just want to clear up the confusion that might happen is with the turn work. So this is still row 2. We purled these 2 stitches, then we turned it so in that row we can finish casting on. The next one will say bind off 16 stitches, and then you will knit 1. So that I'm only going to tell you sort of in the middle of that one where it's unusual that you would be turning the work. Otherwise, at the end of a row, you knit to the end, you purl to the end, whatever, you would naturally be turning. So I haven't put that turn work in there. My test knitters didn't run into that, but now that I am sort of thinking through what might trip people up, I'm just going to add that as a note of caution. And so that's all you're going to do, is you're going to cast on and bind off. The number changes after a while so that we can kind of get a thicker sort of triangular feeling, but that's all there is to this beard. It will curl a little bit, but if you kind of twist it, it will curl a little more. And then of course, if you let it sort of sit that way, it'll go longer. I do not recommend that you block the beard, because if you block it, it will want to relax and go flatter. So you want this all springy and magnificent. At least I assume you do. If you want it flatter, you go and you do that. So I hope that this helps you with Nemo's beard and clears up any questions you might have. Don't forget, you can ask them in the thread for the mystery knit along if you're doing this during the mystery knit along. Otherwise, if you're between or after the mystery knit along, come into the Imagine Landscapes Ravelry group. We're always open to questions there. Happy knitting.